this is Trevor, and welcome back to our weekly tarot card video. Today is Thursday, July the 23rd, 2015, and once again I'm coming to you from my cozy little reading studio here at 161 Stafford Street in Winnipeg. This is where I do my private readings by appointment, and you can find out more information about how to book a reading with me on my website, and that link is included underneath these videos. That's at trevorsense.com. That's also where you'll find all of the videos that we've covered already in a table of contents order. At the top of the page it says tarot videos, and there's a section about my work, and that includes articles about my approach to reading. And then there's also on the website some articles I have written in the past, and I hope to be doing more of that in the near future. So without further ado, let's get into our card of the week. I'm shuffling the remaining cards and cutting them. Well, what a beautiful card of contentment. This is the Nine of Cups. And I often will mention that I like to look at the numbers in common. So we look at what all of the nines seem to have to say. And I really believe that you can make a great association to the positions in the most popular tarot layout, the Celtic Cross. And that's a 10-card layout. So we kind of get that re-emphasis of what the numbers 1 through 10 are talking about. And in the 10-card layout, with 10 being the last card, that being kind of the completion or the outcome, 9 is that little pause on the threshold. It's that state of near completion. And oftentimes the position in the Celtic Cross, where we lay that 9th card down, is referred to as our hopes and fears. So those are the things that we are projecting about the future. Those are the things that we are carrying kind of in our unconscious or sometimes conscious script. It can have to do with the patterns that keep playing out again and again in our lives. So it's sort of an opportunity, just a little like when a computer's running slowly, we kind of check and see what the processes are that are running there. And maybe it's a process we don't need any longer. We can choose to shut it down and call on it if need be. Or we may say, that's a good process, that's something I need, that's like my virus protection. So we're going to leave that running. So nines, I sometimes say, are like the last walk through the house before you move. You kind of make sure that you've left things in good order. It's always nice when you move to leave a roll of toilet paper behind for the next people coming in. And sometimes we also can recognize things that we maybe forgot to pack. Wait a minute, I need that. I need to carry that forward. So nines are oftentimes those things that we are carrying from situation to situation. The situation or the circumstance might change, but what's the underlying pattern? So as we look at those different nines in the Rider-Waite Tarot deck, we get a very different feeling about where some of those things may be positive or negative, and what we may be projecting. Well, the Nine of Cups is a beautiful card, and I mentioned earlier that feeling of contentment. Look at how this figure is seated in front of what seems to be a partial circle of cups. There's this feeling of being surrounded. And cups have a lot to do with our emotions, our sense of nurture. So there's a very contented feeling. This figure is looking, pretty satisfied, pretty content. And that wonderful sense of a circle is something that can expand. There's always room to kind of move the chairs back a little bit and let somebody else sit down. So this is a beautiful card that has to do sometimes with a great feeling of community, a sense of the circles in our lives, the things that we can feel we are part of, where we can be receiving a sense of sustenance and understanding, where we may be kind of participating and helping others to be feeling welcomed. Right? So this card coming up in the 9th position is a pretty good emphasis on how we are not just kind of learning our lessons, but maybe looking at how those lessons can work in common with other people. Perhaps joining in a sense of some fellowship, some brotherly and sisterly connections in our life. And oftentimes when we have that, that gives us a good kind of negotiating foundation for the more challenging questions in terms of relationships. Piece of advice my mother gave me that I share again and again and again. Don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry. You don't make great choices. And that can be true if we're feeling lonely and if we're maybe seeking a sense of relationship or connection with others. We don't just look for that distracting, intense connection. That can be pretty easy to fall into. But when we have that feeling of a circle, and we can have that feeling of belonging and help others to know that they belong, then it's sort of like we're getting the right nourishment to be looking at those choices on another level. This is oftentimes a card that is associated with our sense of wishfulness. And that means we're looking at possibilities and potentials. And with this card coming up right now, I think in terms of summer and a wonderful time to be out and about and exploring, I'm wishing everyone to kind of find their circle, their sense of contentment. Sometimes we can be finding that on our own, but knowing we are part of something greater and paying attention to that. I look forward to seeing you again next week or in person. If you're interested in booking an appointment, by all means, check out my information. This is such a changeable time of year, and I have some same-day availability some days, and sometimes it's best to book ahead. I always like to try and schedule a time that is right and comfortable and convenient for you. So by all means, give me a call, and we'll look forward to seeing you either in person or live again next week when you tune into this channel. Take care. Bye for now.